Good day there. This is PJ. This is our daily lectionary readings for Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. Once again, we have our psalm reading. It is Psalms 53. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are the same psalm. 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 through 7 is the Old Testament reading. And the Gospel of Luke chapter 9, verses 10 through 17 is the New Testament reading. Today, once again, we're going to be reading out of the Living Bible. Psalm 53. Only a fool would say to himself, "There is no God." And why does he say it? Because of his wicked heart, his dark and evil deeds? His life is corroded with sin? God looks down from heaven, searching among all mankind to see if there is a single one who does right and really seeks for God. But all have turned their backs on him. They are filthy with sin, corrupt and rotten through and through. Not one is good, not one. How can this be? Can't they be understood for anything? For they devour my people like bread and refuse to come to God. But some, unheard of terror, will fall on them. God will scatter the bones of these, your enemies. They are doomed, for God has rejected them. Oh, that God would come from Zion now and save Israel. Only when the Lord himself restores them can they ever be really happy again. Our Old Testament reading comes from the book of 2 Kings, chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. One day, the wife of one of the seminary students came to Elisha to tell him of her husband's death. He was a man who had loved God, she said, but he had owed some money when he died, and now the creditor was demanding it back. If she didn't pay, he said he would take her 2 sons as his slaves. "What shall I do?" Elisha asked. "How much food do you have in the house?" "Nothing at all except a jar of olive oil," she replied. "Then borrow many pots and pans from your friends and neighbors," he instructed. "Go into your house with your sons and shut the door behind you. Then pour olive oil from your jar into the pots and pans, setting them aside as they are filled." So she did. Her sons brought the pots and pans to her, and she filled one after another. Soon every container was full to the brim. "Bring me another jar," she said to her sons. "There aren't any more," they told her, and the oil stopped flowing. When she told the prophet what had happened, he said to her, "Go and sell the oil and pay your debt, and there will be enough money left for you and your sons to live on." Our New Testament reading comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 9, verses 10 through 17. After the apostles returned to Jesus and reported what they had done, he slipped quietly away with them towards the city of Bethsaida. But the crowds found out where he was going and followed, and he welcomed them, teaching them again about the kingdom of God and curing those who were ill. Late in the afternoon, all 12 of the disciples came and urged him to send the people away to the nearby village and farms to find food and lodging for the night. "For there is nothing to eat here in this deserted spot," they said. But Jesus replied, "You feed them." "Why, we only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish among the lot of us," they protested. "Or are you expecting us to go and buy enough for the whole mob?" For there were about 5,000 men there. Jesus tells them, "Sit down on the ground, in groups of about 50 each," Jesus replied. So they did. Jesus took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looked up into the sky and gave thanks. Then he broke off pieces for his disciples to set before the crowd. And everyone ate and ate. Still, 12 basketfuls of scraps were picked up afterwards. Here ends our readings for the day.